As the lodge settles into the quiet moments after the meeting, one young Mason carries more than the memory of the evening's work. He carries the weight of an uncomfortable moment, a request he was not ready for, and the sting of having refused when his master called upon him. The brethren begin to drift away, their voices low and friendly, but the young brother remains troubled. Near the outer door, where duty and wisdom often keep their quiet watch, the old Tyler sits calmly, his eyes seeing more than the young man realizes. With hesitant steps, the young brother approaches him. His face shows embarrassment, but also the need to be understood. The old Tyler looks up, patient and steady, as though he already knows that a lesson is about to begin.
I was really embarrassed in lodge tonight. I don't think the master should have put me in that position.
That's too bad. Did he correct you in front of everyone?
No, nothing like that. The chaplain was absent, and the master asked me to fill in for him.
And why would that embarrass you?
Because I had to tell him no.
The old Tyler studies him for a moment, surprised but calm.
You refused?
Of course I refused. It was bad enough being asked. But to stand at the altar and offer a prayer in front of the whole lodge? I couldn't do that.
You surprise me, but we will come back to that. Who acted as chaplain?
The master asked the speaker for the evening. I had never met him before.
And did he do well?
He said a beautiful prayer. He told the master he did not know the prayer from the ritual, but the master said that was all right. I thought that was strange.
Do you remember what he said?
Pretty well. It was short, but sincere.
Great architect of the universe, we are gathered here as master masons in a lodge dedicated to your glory. Look with favor on this assembly of your children. Open our hearts so that the truths of masonry may find a welcome place within us. Help us shape ourselves into upright stones, fit for that eternal temple not made with hands. We ask this under the watchful symbol of the all-seeing eye. Amen.
The prayer was not long. It was not taken from memory. It was not spoken with show or pride. But it was spoken with reverence, and because of that, it carried weight.
That was a fine prayer.
But it was not the ritual prayer.
No, it was not. And he was not the appointed chaplain either. But what difference does that make?
The young brother looks uncertain.
Do you think God only hears us when we use the exact same words every time lodge opens? Surely it is the sincerity and the thought behind the prayer that matter, not merely the wording.
The young brother lowers his eyes, beginning to realize the old Tyler is leading him toward a deeper lesson.
Your refusal to act as chaplain puts you in an unfortunate position.
How so?
You shave yourself, do you not?
Yes, but what does that have to do with anything?
Tomorrow morning, when you look in the mirror, you may find yourself saying, "Good morning, coward," and that is not a pleasant way to start the day.
The young brother looks hurt.
Do you really think I was a coward?
I think you were scared, and I think your fear had a little pride mixed into it. You were so worried about what the brethren might think of you that you forgot the duty you had been asked to perform. You were thinking more about how you would appear than about the prayer itself.
That is strong language. It was not pride. It was modesty. I did not think I was able.
Do not deceive yourself. You said you were embarrassed. Why is a man embarrassed in public? Because he is afraid he will not do well. He is afraid he will look foolish. He is afraid people will judge him.
The young brother is silent.
So, you refused a compliment from the master and denied your brethren a small service simply because you were afraid of how you might look.
But I have never prayed in public before.
The old tiler gives him a faint, knowing smile.
No man has ever prayed in public before his first public prayer.
The young brother absorbs the simple truth of that statement.
And tell me this, why should a man be embarrassed before God? We are taught that he knows all things. If nothing can be hidden from him, then he already knows your heart.
The old tiler pauses.
A man may be ashamed of himself. He may be sorry for what he has done or failed to do. But embarrassed in prayer? No, that does not make sense. As for being embarrassed before your brethren, that is just pride wearing the clothes of modesty. A man who speaks sincerely to God has no reason to worry about men.
But what if someone thought I did it poorly?
If anyone were foolish enough to laugh at a sincere prayer, the shame would be on him, not on the one praying.
The young Mason had feared the judgment of men, but the old tiler reminded him that prayer is not a performance. It is not offered to impress the lodge. It is offered to God.
In all my years as a Mason, I have never seen a brother ridicule another brother's honest prayer. I have heard men pray who were not polished speakers. I have heard men stumble for words. I have heard prayers that were not from the ritual, but from the heart.
He turns back to the young brother.
And when a man speaks sincerely to the great architect, the brethren understand. Often they admire his courage more than his words.
The young brother nods slowly. The lesson is beginning to settle within him.
What about the phrase all-seeing eye? Was that right?
What difference does it make to God by what reverent name we call him?
The old tiler's voice is steady and respectful.
The all-seeing eye is a good Masonic expression, honored by generations of men who used it with reverence. If the prayer is sincere, the great architect understands it.
The young brother had been concerned with correctness. The old tiler was teaching him reverence. One is important, but the other gives it life.
So what should I do?
For your own peace of mind, go to the master and tell him you made a mistake. Tell him you are sorry.
The young brother listens carefully.
Tell him that if he ever honors you again by asking you to pray for yourself and your brethren in the absence of the chaplain, you will do your reverent best.
The young brother takes a slow breath. He is no longer trying to defend himself.
And when you kneel at the altar, forget that anyone else is listening. That is what every true chaplain must do.
He looks at the young brother with kindness.
Speak as though the only one who hears you is the one to whom the prayer is addressed.
That night, the young Mason learned that service does not always come when a man feels ready. Sometimes it comes suddenly, quietly, and without warning. He had thought his refusal was modesty. The old tiler showed him that it was fear. He had worried about the judgment of his brethren, but he learned that sincere prayer is not a performance before men. It is an offering from the heart. And when a Mason is called to serve, even in a small way, the noblest answer is not perfection. It is courage, humility, and a reverent willingness to try.